Hey everyone, and welcome. So, you're stepping up into a management role here at TuVida, which means you're about to take a really important step, becoming a CQC registered manager. I know it can seem like a big deal, but this guide is here to make that whole journey as clear and simple as possible. Let's dive in. Yeah, let's be honest, that whole CQC registration process can look a little intimating at first, right? But seriously, don't worry. We're going to break it all down step by step. Just think of this as your roadmap to getting it done right. We're here to support you the whole way. So here's our game plan. We've broken this down into 5 key parts. First, we'll talk about what this role is really all about. Then we'll get into eligibility, gathering your documents, tackling the application form itself, and finally, what you can expect after you hit send. By the end, you'll know exactly what to do. All right, first up, the role itself. What does it actually mean to be a registered manager? I can tell you it's way more than just a title on a business card. It's a role that comes with real responsibility and, the power to make a huge impact. So here's the official CQC definition. You're in charge of the day-to-day regulated stuff, but it's deeper than that. You're actually the CQC's main point of contact, and you legally share the responsibility with TuVida to make sure we're meeting every single regulation. It's a big deal. And I love this quote from the CCQ because honestly, it just cuts right to the heart of everything. Your leadership is what turns all those rules and regulations into actual, real-world, high-quality care for people. This is the why behind all the paperwork. Okay, so we've got a handle on the what. Now for Section 2, checking your eligibility. Before you even think about the application, we need to make sure you can show the CQC that you are absolutely the right person for this job.
So when the CQC looks at your application, this is what they're trying to see. And fitness isn't just about your resume. It's about your character, your judgment. It all comes back to one key thing. Can you meet the needs of our service users? The great news is your work here at TuVida has been preparing you for exactly this.
Okay, this slide is super helpful for understanding how the CQC thinks. The stuff on the left, those are the must-haves. They're totally non-negotiable. The column on the right, highly desirable, well, that's the stuff that makes your application really stand out from the crowd.
Okay, you've checked the boxes, you're eligible. Now for the nuts and bolts. Getting all your documents ready. Seriously, taking the time to get everything together now is going to make filling out the actual form so much easier later. All right, think of this as your prep checklist. A couple of things here are absolutely critical. Your enhanced DBS check has to be countersigned by the CQC, and it has to be recent within the last 12 months. And for your work history, be super thorough. Explaining any gaps just shows you're transparent and helps them see your whole professional story. And, just a quick but really important note here. The CQC takes this stuff very seriously. Your application isn't just a form, it's a formal declaration. So honesty and accuracy are key. Double-check everything, because getting it wrong can lead to a pretty hefty fine. Okay, documents are all gathered up. You are ready for the main event, the application form itself. Let's talk about finding the right form and, just as important, how to send it in correctly. This is a simple one, but it's so easy to get wrong. You have to use the exact right form. Since TuVida is already a provider, you need the one specifically called New Registered Manager Application Form. You can find it right there on the CQC's website. And when it's all filled out, this is the magic email address. I'd literally copy and paste this to avoid any typos. Sending your application to the wrong place is just going to cause delays you don't need. Okay, listen up because this is a super practical tip that catches so many people out. The CQC's email server has a size limit, 10 megabytes. If your email with all your attachments is bigger than that, it doesn't just get delayed, it gets rejected. It won't even arrive. So what happens if your email is too big? Don't panic. The CQC has a specific way they want you to handle it. You just split your submission into a couple of emails. And make sure you label the subject line clearly, just like in this example. Of course, you'll use our provider name, and then just write New Manager Application 1 of 2, 2 of 2. You get the idea. So, you've hit send. Deep breath. Congrats. But what happens now? The journey isn't quite over. In this last section, we'll look at the CQC's process and the kind of timeline you should be expecting. So, your application basically goes on a little journey of its own.
First, it gets logged. Then it gets reviewed really carefully. They might even come back to you for more information. The interview is their chance to connect the person to the paperwork. And then, finally, you'll get that decision by email. You do have to be patient here. It's a very thorough process and can take a few months.
Okay, and this is probably the most important rule of the entire process, so please listen closely. Until you get that official email from the CDQC saying your registration is approved, you legally cannot manage any regulated activities. It's absolutely crucial for compliance. And that's it. That's the whole process from start to finish. I know it seems like a lot of steps, but just remember that every single one is there to make sure we keep our standards of care incredibly high. This registration isn't just a piece of paper. It's your license to lead and to make a real difference. Good luck with your application. We can't wait to welcome you to your new role.